The meeting of the Public Safety Committee is now called to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Alderman Bosley. Alderman French.
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Present.
Alderman Cone.
Present.
Alderman Carter. Alderman Coulter. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Green. Chairman Kennedy.
Here.
5 present, you have a quorum.
Thank you. We're here today to, have a discussion with the nominee for the Civilian Oversight Board from District 3. We also have one small bill from Alderman Williamson. It's a liquor moratorium bill, Bill 246. He's recovering from surgery. So it's just a basic, he is just renewing the liquor moratorium for his board. That's Board Bill 246. I'm handled. Are there any questions about the bill? Then we can entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we pass out Board Bill 246 with the due pass recommendation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we pass Board Bill 246 out with a due pass recommendation. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Alderman Bosley. Alderman French.
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Carter. Alderman Coulter. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Green. Chairman Kennedy.
Aye.
5 aye votes do pass.
Thank you. By your vote, we have passed our Board Bill 246 with a due pass recommendation. We now have our nominee from the 3rd District, Mr. David Noah Bell. He's a resident of the 26th Ward. First, we'd like to welcome you here. This is the Public Safety Committee of the Board of Aldermen. By ordinance, after the nominees have been made, this committee reviews them and makes a recommendation to the full board as to whether or not to confirm.
Okay.
If you just tell us a little bit about yourself and then why you're interested in serving on the Civilian Review Board.
Okay. Well, as you can see, my name is David Bell. I live in the city. I've lived in the city for most of my life. I wasn't born here, but I grew up here. We moved here when I was about 5. So I have a deep love for the city. I am currently in public health. I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for the last 6 years. I've done outreach all over the city of St. Louis for the last 15 years. And when I saw that there was an opportunity to serve in this capacity, I took advantage of it.
Questions from members of the committee? Alderman French.
Good evening, Mr. Bell.
Good evening.
So what prompted you to nominate yourself? Did anybody contact you? How did you hear about this?
A colleague informed me of the position that was available. I think she saw it on the St. Louis American website.
Okay. Did you contact your alderman at all, or just?
No, I didn't know much about the position at all. I read the information in the newsletter and I followed the application process. I eventually did contact my alderman and we had a telephone conversation. And he said that I had his full support.
So you're a nurse in the emergency room at SLU Hospital?
I am.
How many years have you done that?
My entire nursing career, it started there at SLU. I was we call it a care partner. It's like a nursing assistant in the hospital. I was there for 3 years while I was in nursing school, and after I graduated, I got hired full-time in the emergency department. So I've been with St. Louis University Hospital for approximately 9 years.
Okay. In the question in the application, it says, please describe your experiences, good or bad, with police officers. You know that you interact with police officers and detectives often as an emergency department nurse at SLU. Do you have any other interactions with police? Have you ever had any other interactions with police, positive or negative?
Not that I recall. I don't recall getting pulled over in the last, 7 or 8 or 9 years. I haven't really had much experience with them outside of professional. Well, we've done several community outings with the police, but it was sort of like a co-op between police, fire, and EMS. But outside of that, no.
Any friends, relatives who are employees of the police department?
No blood relatives, no.
Outside of blood?
Yeah, well, my wife's cousin is a police officer
In the city?
in the city. She's a detective now.
Okay. That's all I have right now.
Okay. Alderman Vaccaro?
I don't have any real questions, just thank you for taking the time to come and see us. I think the infringement answered all the questions I had.
Alderman Cohen?
I would imagine that your schedule with work is probably fairly hectic at times. We are not entirely certain of the commitment that this will take in terms of the amount of time, per day, per week, per month, et cetera. I was just curious about your flexibility with your work schedule to be able to accommodate meetings of the commission.
I've spoken, well, I actually work at two different places. St. Louis University Hospital was one. I also work for the Department of Public Health of the county. I've spoken with both directors, and they were okay with me applying for this position.
Okay. Have you had any conversations with community organizations, the Police Officers Association or CAPGR at all about your application? I know you came in a little bit after some of the other nominees, so I'm not sure if either one of those groups has had the opportunity to meet with you or have a conversation with you at this point.
No. The only group was this gentleman right here that just introduced himself.
Okay.
That's about it.
And then just like a personal level, what's your interest in being on the board?
Serving the community. That's my interest. Been
That's all.
serving most of my life, and like I said, the opportunity came up to serve. I want to serve.
Alderwoman Spencer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Bell, for being here, and I appreciate you reaching out to me separately on with your work and meeting up with me the other day. Very proactive, and I'm very looking forward to working with you. I was curious, and I apologize if this question has already been asked, but how did you come to apply for this position? Did somebody ask you or nominate you personally, or was this a self-interest of yours? Was it self-directed, or maybe did somebody else kind of push you to this?
A colleague of mine sent me an email.
Okay.
She saw an ad, St. Louis American's website, and she forwarded that information to me and said, hey, you might be interested in this, because both of us do community outreach.
Oh, great. And so, kind of along with Alderman Cohn's questions, I was curious if you were going to continue to volunteer. It says here in your application that you've volunteered with community outreach projects over the years, and I was curious if you, with the timing of this and all the work that you're doing, how would you feel that fitting in, that volunteer work?
Oh, I'm not going to stop being who I am. I think the purpose of this board is to recruit someone that has a vested interest in the community, and for that individual to step away from that vested interest would kind of defeat the purpose. So I'm going to continue to do the things that I do and just try to work it out.
Great. And just curious about your involvement in your neighborhood. Do you have, do you participate in your neighborhood association? Are you active within your own hyper-local community?
Not yet. I'm fairly new to my neighborhood. We just bought a fixer-upper off of Union Page, and I just met the alderman the other day by telephone. So as those relationships continue to build, I'll be able to become more of a part of that community.
Great. I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Alderwoman Green?
Thank you. Thanks for coming. So this board is a pretty diverse group of people, and they have, sometimes some very perhaps some differences in opinions. Can you just explain to me how you approach a situation if you disagree with somebody?
So, because my profession alone, I'm in public health, so we deal with every type of personality you can imagine. I work at St. Louis University Hospital, so we deal with, in the ER, so we deal with every personality imaginable. I am a non-biased individual. I assess every situation as they come, regardless of who that individual is. If you can imagine having to care for an individual that has just come into the ER and he's been wounded by gun violence, and you learn that this individual was also the one that shot and killed several other people, and you still have to take care of this individual. You still have to provide as much care for this individual as you would anyone else. You have to be non-biased, absolutely, because there's no way you can do your job without it.
And what experiences do you have as a healthcare professional working with people with mental illness?
Once again, at St. Louis University Hospital in the emergency department, because of the reduced funding for mental illness in the state of Missouri, some of those organizations that would normally care for them, they're closed. So the emergency departments are pretty much the go-to location for any individual that's having some type of mental breakdown. So we see a lot. We see individuals with struggles all the time, whether that be suicidal ideations or homicidal ideations or schizophrenia or what have you.
And so you have experience kind of working with or de-escalating those situations, getting people
Absolutely.
stable.
Absolutely. And we have additional in-service trainings to help us.
Okay. Can you speak a little bit more about what that training is?
It's training to de-escalate situations, to gently subdue individuals if they become out of control, how to talk individuals down, how to make sure that you are handling the situation in the best possible way while keeping the patient as safe as possible.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Are there any other questions from members of the committee? Alderman
I
Spencer?
did have one additional question
Sure.
here. So I just noticed here through your employment experience, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing this, but Davlin Christian Ministries, and it looks like you're the outreach coordinator. Can you talk a little bit about your work there and what you do as an outreach coordinator?
So as an outreach coordinator, we not only develop programs in the community, but we also partner with other organizations in the community with a common goal. Unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to do a lot of that over the last few years, but initially we would do different programs in the community, whether that would be helping to coordinate a clothing drive or helping to coordinate a food drive, helping to establish some churches in the community, helping with community cleanup or what have you. It's just a lot of different things in the community as we see the need. There was one program that we were very involved in. It was called Project STO. This program, we did some unconventional things. We'd watch the news and see where all the problems were, the gun violence and the carjackings, and we would go to those neighborhoods and we would partner with some of the community leaders, and we would produce concerts in the street. And these concerts would be staffed by Christian rap artists and Christian singers and dancers or what have you to bring the community out. And once we had the community's attention, I think St. Louis Dream Center would come in and cook hot dogs and do all that for free. Local business owners would come out and donate water and what have you. And once we have the community's attention, then the leader of this particular organization would get up and say a few words to the community about violence and solicit help from the community to help stop that violence. So, I mean, we do stuff like that.
And in that work, did you ever partner with the police department in any way and work with them?
Well, we Not for that organization, no. We let the police know what we were doing,
Mhm.
and they would drive by just to make sure everything was okay. But it wasn't a real partnership. But I have partnered with the police more recently, earlier this year, with St. Louis University Hospital. We have been conducting what we call docudramas. We reenact accidents, automobile accidents, to help deter drunk driving during prom season.
Hmm.
And we do these docudramas at different high schools.
Mhm.
We partner with police, but we also partner with the EMS and City Fire and a host of other organizations as well.
And that was with the St. Louis City Police Department?
Yes.
Okay, it sounds like you've done just a lot. You do a lot of work in the community, and this is another opportunity for you to do that. I appreciate your willingness to come and spend your time dedicated to this board. It's an important one, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I have no questions.
Are there?
I apologize for my tardiness.
No problem. No other older people here. Any other questions from members of the committee? What we can do is, we also have a sign-in sheet if anyone wants to make a public comment. First, what we'll do is we'll open it up for any public comment, and then if Alderman Coder has a question after that, we'll bring you back up.
Okay.
So for right now, thank you very much. If you could have a seat there, we'll. Mhm. Mr. John Chasnoff.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to speak briefly, but first I wanted to thank you all for coming out tonight to fulfill this important obligation to make sure that the members are properly vetted and that we end up with a good board. But I think the stars have aligned well for us. That I appreciate Mr. Bell's willingness to serve, and it seems to me that he fills some holes in the board, brings different experiences than some of the other members do, which is always a good thing. And so I mostly wanted to speak in appreciation of the process and of Mr. Bell. I did want to also point out that the board is going through another important phase in terms of picking an executive director and also beginning to write protocols and get itself up and running, initial thinking about training and what that might look like. And so I hope that you all continue to take as seriously as you have your responsibilities for oversight of this process, and that you keep an eye on all those various parts, because every step we take here is setting a precedent. And I think that the Board of Aldermen, and especially the Public Safety Committee, has an important role to play in making sure, shepherding this along and making sure that every step that we take moves us forward. So I just wanted to alert you to those next steps, and hope that CAPCAR can partner with Mr. Bell, with the other members, and with you to make this thing a success.
Before you, are there any questions, Mr. Chasnoff? If not, thank you very much. Thank you. No one else signed, and so we'll take this an opportunity. It didn't give you much time, but it gave you some.
No, Mr. Chairman, but I actually had a chance to meet with Mr. Bell on some of the work he does during the day with infants and with expecting mothers recently, and I'm very impressed with him and his background, and full faith that he'll do a great job on the Civilian Oversight Board.
Excellent. And we have no other testimony. There are no other questions. Oh, did you have something?
No, I was going to make a motion.
Oh, we're open for the motion.
I move that we approve the nomination of David Noah Bell to the Civilian Oversight Board.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the nomination of Mr. David Noah Bell. Is there any discussion? It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Alderman Bosley. Alderman French. Alderman Vaccaro. Alderman Cone.
Aye.
Alderman Carter. Alderman Coulter.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Green.
Aye.
Chairman Kennedy.
Aye.
7 aye votes.
By your vote, you have passed the motion. That completes our agenda for today. We'd like to thank you for coming out, as well as others of the public for coming out, and that completes our agenda. The meeting's adjourned.